Hello, a very good morning and welcome to this episode of the topical discussion. My name is Simon Kagwanjala. As we watch the space politics, the once formidable Forum for Democratic Change is caught in an eye of what you would call a perfect storm, as the Katonga faction comes out to announce that they are creating a breakaway faction and they will dissolve the party within 6 months while creating a new outfit following a range of countrywide consultations that climaxed at the delegates conference yesterday. Well, the resolution was widely supported among several other resolutions that were read out by the party president, the Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago. On the other side, the Najja Nkumbi faction called this some bit of comedy, a joke that Lukwago trades wherever he goes. Take a listen at what happened.
These are delegates gathered at Katonga Road to have a final say on their 20-year-old party. In attendance of the close to 1,000 people from across the country were members of parliament including Naboth Namanya, Kamara Asnansi Nyakato, Francis Mojuche, Ibrahim Samijunganda, Betty Ayolo Chan and Kabusu, including chairpersons of districts. 5 proposals were presented, including fighting to rescue the party and evict those they call imposters, reconcile on condition that they voluntarily vacate Najja Nkumbi, dissolution of FDC, forming a new party, or join existing political parties. Acting president of the party, Erias Lukwago, read the NEC resolutions.
Counter voices of reconciliation came through, particularly from Teso sub-region. Rwenzori and Acholi sub-regions too mooted the proposal of making attempts at reconciliation with the Najja Nkumbi renegades, failure of which a new formation be established. Apart from the aforesaid 3 sub-region, the rest of the regions that were consulted, there were 17, unanimously coalesced behind the idea of establishing a new political party and completely sever any relations with the Najja Nkumbi imposters.
One by one, NEC members then started voting on the resolutions. Their minds were all relative, arguing a new formation was inevitable, except one who insisted they needed to keep the party and fight to kill the snake.
We start the process of dissolving FDC party. I second the motion in totality.
The party deputy president for FDC Eastern Region, Salam Musumba, said they foresaw dissolving the party as a better option.
Part of making this constitution, we knew that we would hit turbulence at some time. And so we provided for dissolution, and this is what we are activating today. This is what we are seeking your approval. It's a painful thing, but surgery happens that way, so that we preserve that part of our history.
After this resolution, a notice of about 6 months will be issued, and then process for registration of a new political formation will start.
Even after we create for ourselves the home we call ours, we must mobilize and unite with all Ugandans of whatever party description, provided their agenda is to regain control of the country. I mobilize, I call upon you all soldiers of NRA, where I fought. We didn't fight for family rule. Wherever you are, stand up and we liberate our country. This country must go back to the hands of Ugandans. What I see ahead, some people think that the 20 years were wasted. No. We didn't arrive where we were going, but the 20 years have already broken down what was the system of Mr. Museveni. It is wobbling all over the place.
Well, in the wake of this, the FDC leadership at Najja Nkumbi issued a statement dismissing this delegates conference and further reasserting that there is only one Forum for Democratic Change. If I could just read it out for you. Our attention has been drawn to an alleged delegates meeting at the Forum for Democratic Change Party, whereas resolutions were passed. We wish to clarify as follows: that the Forum for Democratic Change Party is a duly registered party within the Electoral Commission of Uganda as by law required, and returns of office bearers are duly filed with the Electoral Commission, of which none of the so-called officers of the party is an office bearer as they claim to be. 2, that meeting of the party can only be called by authorized office bearers of the party, of which one Mr. Waswabirigwa and Mr. Lukwago Erias, who've been posturing and all masquerading as party chairman, party president respectively, are not, and as such they are not authorized to call a delegates conference. This alleged party delegates meeting is nothing but a meeting of attention-seeking, like-minded, disgruntled rabble-rousers who should be ignored. 3, that we urge the public not to be misled by these acts of theatrics for which Mr. Lukwago Erias, the ringleader, has come to be known for everywhere he goes. 4, that as residents of Kampala, capital city, are still recovering from the tragedy of Chitezi, for which Mr. Lukwago is squarely liable because of his incompetence as a leader, it is surprising that Mr. Lukwago Erias and a few councillors of Kampala, capital city, can find time to perpetuate political jokes without first clarifying when they will finally start working to better the lives of the people of Kampala, capital city. 5, in the meantime, the party is continuing with its mobilization drive across the country and is slated to hold its next activities in Jinja on Saturday, the 24th of August, 2024, signed by the Secretary General, Nathan Nandala Mafabi. Well, this morning we want to examine what is at stake as FDC tears apart once again from the ANC shocker now to another splinter group emerging. Could the once formidable Blue Party be on the brink of extinction? Well, I'm joined by Honorable Yusuf Nsibambi, a lawyer, a legislator, the FDC chief whip, and the deputy president for Central Region for Najjana Nkumbi Forum for Democratic Change. Good to have you and a very good morning.
Yes, good morning, Simon, and good morning, viewers. You know why I laughed a bit when you said FDC Najjana Nkumbi. There's nothing like FDC Najjana Nkumbi. It's true Najjana Nkumbi is our headquarters as a party, but there's one FDC. So I'm appearing as Deputy President, FDC.
Apparently, court reinstated Waswabirigwa as the substantive chairman of the Forum for Democratic Change. He sits at Katonga.
No, that's not true. The court did not reinstate Waswabirigwa as chairman. What happened?
Okay, they reaffirmed.
What happened? No, there was not even reaffirming. What happened? One of our members brought what they call private prosecutions, were saying that Waswabirigwa is masquerading as the chairman, and the court dismissed the case, not reaffirming Birigwa. Dismissed on a technicality, saying you do not bring LOC letter, which gives you the basis of bringing this action, and other particulars. Otherwise, as it is, there was no declaration by a magistrate court because it has no powers to determine matters under the Political Organizations Act. That's a matter for the High Court. This was private prosecution, which is brought before a magistrate for you to get permission to prosecute a person who has committed a crime.
Do you hold on the view that Waswabirigwa, one of the strong pillars of the Forum for Democratic Change, and Erias Lukwago are masqueraders?
Yes, they are, because they brought a suit against the party before our delegates conference and before Justice Sekana, and the judgment was delivered, okaying the delegates conference, which in a way brought in new office bearers. They also wanted to stop that delegates conference, and the court said, no, you cannot stop it because you have no locus. Out of the 9 grounds, they did 1 nothing. So basically, whatever they are doing it as masqueraders, because the court okayed the delegates conference, which returned office bearers, and their names were filed with the Electoral Commission, and they are performing duties in those capacities.
Besides being dismissive of the delegates conference that was held yesterday at Katonga, which actually attracted a huge number of FDC supporters.
The numbers is here inconsequential, because what you're talking about, was it a meeting or an organ?
A delegates conference.
No, it cannot be.
They called it a delegates conference.
I know calling it does not make it a delegates conference. Watch delegates conference. Because first of all, under our constitution, the delegates conference must sit after 3 years. So they have been holding meetings one after the other. It cannot be a delegates conference. It can only be described differently. Maybe you should have described it as an extraordinary meeting, and that has to come with special business. So basically, a delegates conference is duly constituted as a delegates conference, not just as delegates or individuals. It must be a meeting duly constituted under our constitution.
Okay, there was a very groundbreaking resolution.
So they had a meeting of, say, members, but who convenes the meeting also is clear. If you are not a duly registered office bearer with the Electoral Commission, you cannot really convene a meeting of members and you say, this is a delegates conference. So basically, even at that level, it was null and void.
Okay, this was a culmination of a series of consultative meetings that the members have been holding around the country, and they made all these hard stances, all these resolutions.
Yes.
That among them is the dissolution of the current FDC for the creation of a new outfit.
Yeah, even before you go to the finite of the meeting, the dissolution, you're talking about consultations throughout the country. I have no problem with that, because if you're a mobilizer or if you're a member, you can really consult over a matter. But when it comes now to taking a decision, it must be an appropriate organ to do it.
Okay, are these members, for starters, do you still regard them as members of the Forum for Democratic?
Technically, they are not, because for you to be a member, you must renew membership every year, and they have no evidence that they renewed. Ever since now they settled at Katonga as we refer to as a splinter group, they did not come back to renew. We have been going through an exercise to renew. And the office bearers who are registered to do that kind of mandate are the office bearers at Najana and Nkumbi. Specifically, we have received funding from government as a party. And it was not sent to Katonga. If it was, no, they cannot even recommend a candidate. We did it in Dokoro. They had no mandate even. Even LC, an LC, an LC, what if you go through, say, LC elections, the branch chairman of LC, of FDC, who has a stamp and a mandate is at Katonga. I'm the whip in the parliament. I'm the one recommending committee members. So basically now, as it is, these are maybe either sympathizers. If you are really interested in remaining members, they should have come home to renew. So I think we have to really guide our people and not mislead them. So at the technical level, they have no capacity or mandate to convene, discuss a matter, be it a policy, and pass a binding resolution. They can give advice, they can consult generally as members or sympathizers, but not as office bearers to make resolutions which bind the party, leading to what you're talking about, dissolution.
Analysts have looked at this meeting, if you prefer to call it one, as the final straw that broke the camel's back. Now it's no more.
How?
FDC
How?
has been wrecked apart.
First of all, technically, if you are to dissolve a party, our constitution is clear. How you're supposed to be done.
Article 30.
Yeah, it is very clear. It's very, very clear. Actually, it even talks about the timelines, who is supposed to do it. You cannot now adopt a report of a president of a party to dissolve a party. It is impossible. One, political parties are not really individual organs. They are national organs. And they are accountable to the entire population, not just party members, because there are funds which you must give. You cannot just you cannot just convene a meeting saying we have dissolved.
Well, Honorable Wijuche, one of the members of the Splinter FDC, joins us now from Katonga. Good to have you. And is this the new fashion for Katonga?
He's very smart, indeed. Well, thank you very much, Simon, and I'm happy to meet my long-time friend, Honorable Sivambi.
And your chief whip?
Who I have known for some time.
He's your chief whip. Do you recognize him as well?
He's the chief whip of the Forum for Democratic Change.
Yes. To which you subscribe?
Illegally, because he had to go through some process in Parliament. However, I don't recognize him, and I've told him that before, because of how he got there. He can even allocate me a committee, I would go, because that is how Parliament operates. But I would still find him and say, I don't recognize you as whip because of how you got there. And he really knows why I have reservations. And we have discussed that before, and I don't want that to be a topic today.
The mainstream FDC Najja Nkumbi came out with a statement in the aftermath of your delegates' conference, describing it as a big joke, one of the big jokes, and a wishful resolution to dissolve the party. What's your take?
Well, I saw that document. And to say the least, that document was empty. Not based on any relevance to the party constitution, any company act. It was just an empty document. It is reactionary, following what had happened yesterday. It's just a reactionary document. And of course, us who know the character of the Honorable Nandara, that is how he operates. He's reactionary. So it is typical of the character of the person who wrote it, or signed it. But two, the constitution of the party envisaged such a situation in Article 36, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That such a situation would happen, and the founder members of the party, the members of the party, the leaders may want to dissolve it. And that's why we have said that we have started on a process of dissolving the party as per Article 36 of our Constitution, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And he was talking about how it is supposed to be done. Yes.
Technically,
yes,
he
technically,
says
yes.
Technically, you don't pass off as members of the party because you've not renewed your membership.
Actually, technically, they are not even supposed to be talking about the FDC, because you know that through their proxy, called Jamal Wante, they went to court to challenge the chairman of the party, Wasswa Virgwa. And the court at Uganda Road said, dismiss their case. They were saying he's impersonating, he's using party documents, he's issuing documents on behalf of the party. Court at Uganda Road dismissed them with the contempt it deserved. And so,
they did reinstate Virgwa.
He has been there, so there was nothing like reinstating. Because we told you that the person who called for a meeting they had at Rugogo was not the chairperson of the party. The chairperson of the party is Honorable Ambassador Virgwa. And so, whatever capacity they are using, they are not leaders of the FDC. And so that's why I don't want to listen to them. I wouldn't even want to waste my time on them, because we have to do whatever is humanly possible to save Ugandans from the oppression, from unemployment, from slavery. So we cannot waste any more time on discussing whether the imposters at Najja Nkumbi have anything to tell us as a country. We have now...
Okay, where do you derive the guts to call yourselves FDC anymore when you never renewed your party membership?
He knows that I'm a member of the FDC in Parliament.
Do you? Do you recognize him as a member of the FDC?
As a member of Parliament, duly elected under the Constitution and under the Parliamentary Elections Act. But when it comes to membership of the party, already they have dissolved the party. The moment you actually is dissolved, I don't know whether he's still even a member of parliament.
We have actually started on a process.
If a party, you have a resolution to dissolve within 6 months, can you even claim to be a member of parliament? Because you are now in the process of regularizing and giving notice
you see a process
for you to dissolve. The company is wound up. If the company is wound up, can you even claim to be a shareholder?
You see,
yeah, but it's
this
6
is
months.
a process of 6 months.
Yes, meaning
that
after 6 months.
That can only be said after 6 months.
After 6 months,
yes,
you know to be a member of parliament.
You see, after
so
6
why
months.
Do you now want
but
to
do you know the law about crossing?
Crossing what?
From one party to another.
Why do you wait for the law?
I'm just talking about it. Do you even know it?
I do.
And if you know it, do you know how much time you need before the next election? I know you are a lawyer, but sometimes you behave like you are not.
If you are a principal politician,
so,
you don't really
I hope you can let me make my point
because
I find you speaking. You know, Honorable Nsibambi is supposed to be a senior lawyer.
He is a senior lawyer.
But since he joined, since he became a member of parliament, he behaves differently. And so sometimes I am really sorry that I have to say it. Sometimes I am really at a loss on how to address him. Because he now has been taken over by politics and he has forgotten the law.
But do we need to discuss the law or the politics?
Both.
In your endeavors?
Both. We need to discuss both. So I am telling him that the process has begun. And this process will take 6 months. And this process, by the way, after 6 months, once then the party has decided and gone through a process of a new entity, then it is up to me to either join that new entity or not join it.
Are you held
now,
bent
this
on killing your baby?
This is the position of the party.
FDC.
Now, after that 6 months, I can join that. After all, I will be within the time for which I can move from one party, because they talk about 1 year to the next election. So I will be in the time. So you see, because this thing came as a shock to them,
okay,
they did not expect that we would take this reign.
FDC insists that
they are now carried away by
the consultative meetings
yes.
were illegal in themselves, because you are not meeting delegates of the FDC. You are meeting renegades of the party.
We are actually meeting the real delegates of FDC. They are meeting the appointed members. I don't even say of FDC. They were meeting appointed members, citizens of Uganda, who they appointed for purposes of having a meeting at Rugogo. Because if you go around the whole country, you'll find that the real FDC leaders, chairpersons, delegates were yesterday at Katonga. So finally.
If I could get back to you, can FDC afford another exodus after the ant experience?
No, there is no big problem, Simon and viewers. I think what Honorable Mijuki is talking about, with all due respect, he's talking about FDC supporters, it appears. An organ called a delegates conference is not appointed. These people are elected. And after the term, which expired long time ago, that's why actually we're dying to have a delegates conference. You have now new members. So the other old members, whichever the composition, have no capacity to constitute an organ called a delegates conference. A delegates conference is specifically specified within our constitution. I don't want to go through the different categories. So now he's talking about people appointed for a purpose. You don't appoint members like you're appointing employees. These people are elected through organs from the grassroots. And their term expired long time. It was never extended. They wanted, actually, they're talking about extension, they're talking about interim leadership, interim president. All those descriptions are not in the Constitution. You are either president or not.
You've
what you're talking about,
to drag this Katonga group to court. What happened?
No, we didn't.
You threatened them.
No, they actually dragged the party to court. And Justice Sekana dismissed their case and they okayed a delegates conference, which returned office bearers, and they are registered. So
I think
I really don't understand. Actually, with all due respect,
they dismissed an injunction.
Not the case.
No,
not the case.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but the meeting was okayed.
No?
Yes, it was okayed. And you know, if it was not okayed, At least the Electoral Commission received the office bearers and they are performing duties. But my worry is, he's talking about now appointment, he's talking about interim leadership, he's talking about extension of a term, he's talking about dissolving a party. You have commenced a process of dissolving within 6 months, and within the same resolution you are saying you have extended the tenure of office bearers. How do you extend it? Because you know you are in the process of dissolution. So they are actually blowing hot and cold.
No.
You want to exist
You see,
as Imijiche, as a member of parliament of FDC, but then you are saying your hands are tied, you cannot resign now, you are waiting for 1 year for it to expire and leave. I'm really confused.
I think that's exactly
what is the problem?
That's exactly what I said.
Maybe you clarify that.
Please let me do. You pick your constitution and look at Article 36.
Yes, I do.
It talks about that there must be a notice of at least 6 months.
Yeah,
we have given a notice.
You read one.
Yes, yes. Number one says
the National Delegates Conference.
Special conference may dissolve the party by 2/3 majority of all delegates.
Now, what was your meeting?
Now, the two delegates, the 2/3 of the delegates, yes, a national conference.
Was it a special conference?
The National Delegates Conference.
Yes.
Or a special conference.
Yes.
So the National Delegates Conference sat yesterday. And 2/3.
But how can you sit when the National Delegates Conference?
You see, that's what we don't know now.
It expired.
No. Excuse me, let me make my point. So, sat the 2/3 took a decision to give out a notice. The notice of 6 months is out. Now, when you talk about a notice, this process is managed by the same leadership. Because when you start on dissolving a company or dissolving a party, the same leaders will definitely manage the process. You can't say it's an event that you come and say, we have stopped today. So the process is going on.
Honorable Mwijichi, are we talking about 2 FDCs?
Yes.
Do we have 2 FDCs?
And you see at 36.
Honorable Mwijichi, do we have 2 FDCs?
No, we have 1 FDC and some imposters.
Where does it sit?
And some imposters at Naja Nankombe. Now, 36.4 says the resolution must be supported by at least 80% of the attendance of the delegates conference. This has been done, and I know it will also be done at some stage. But finally, you see,
you're coming in shortly.
On the 19th of September, 2023, the Special Delegates Conference that sat suspended the Honorable Amriat, suspended the Honorable Nandara, and suspended Honorable Ekanya. And they were sent to disciplinary committee where they have never appeared. Now,
did you summon them?
These suspended members are the people attempting to say that they organized the delegates conference to renew their mandate. At that meeting where they were suspended, it is when we go to the interim leaders, because the leadership then had been suspended.
No, but
and therefore...
Does the Constitution provide for interim leadership?
Yes, it does.
Where does it? Where does it?
I will come to that, but let me just finish this. It is that group of 3 that talks about having organized a meeting that renewed their mandate. Now, because they had been suspended, they couldn't have organized a conference. And that's why they said that the meeting was convened by the former vice chairman who was admitted in Nairobi in hospital. He was in Nairobi in intensive care, and then that he convened a meeting while in Nairobi in intensive care.
Honorable Sibambi, Honorable Sibambi, FDC seems to be in this very awkward situation where you can't stop, you can't nip their activities in the bud. They insist whatever they're doing is legal. You're watching them, you can only dismiss them. You can talk dismissively about whatever they're doing. And over time, they are becoming legitimate.
Simon and viewers, for me, I'm not bothered about what is going on because they're doing a good job as mobilizers for the party. We need membership. The only problem I have with them is that they fail to address these matters, all these matters, through legitimate and approved organs of the party. The Constitution is very clear. When you convene members, a meeting of members without going through legitimate organs, who is supposed to convene a meeting at this stage? It must be registered with the Electoral Commission. Now, who is registered at the Electoral Commission is not Ambassador Birigwa or any other member, what you call Najja Nankumbi. I think specifically, I think Honorable Mijuke is confusing a meeting of members generally and an organ of a party. You cannot say you dismissed members in a special meeting. Meetings you cannot even suspend. Meetings are convened clearly. For example, delegates conference has to sit only once in 3 years. In 3 years. So any other meeting is supposed to be a special meeting which is extraordinary, and the business must be specified. Otherwise, if you convene a meeting and you adopt a report of a president, it's not envisaged in the Constitution. What is envisaged in the Constitution that you have to give appropriate notice, which has no, you leave alone the resolution. But I'm talking about even convening a meeting. You have suspended this meeting, what you call delegates conference, on 3 occasions, and you have never given those 45 days notice.
Do you realize that?
So they are having a problem.
Now on the road to extinction.
There's no problem.
6 months. In 6 months.
Let me tell you, Simon, we are operating normally. We are operating normally. Even recently, we had to get accountability issues with the Electoral Commission, which has been clarified. No one is corresponding or is talking to what you call FDC Katonga when it comes to official matters. In Parliament, even as we talk now, we are supposed to go for preliminary in Iguru. I got copies saying you whip your MPs as Yusuf Nsibambi, who is based at Najja Nankumbi. So I think whatever they are doing is not only diversionary but dangerous. However, for me, I will have no problem for them to form a different party without involving.
They are dissolving the Forum for
No, they cannot.
Change.
You cannot. It's very clear. You look at what
Okay,
Simon.
As we speak,
because
who is Waswa Birigwa now? As we speak,
I don't know whether he's a sympathizer because
no, he's a chairman
of what? Of what now?
of the FDC.
And when you're a chairman, do you own the party? But you see, let's assume he's the chairman. So what?
So be it.
He has every legitimate right.
Yes.
And mandatorily
Yes.
to hold a delegate, to
You
summon
see,
a delegate
I
conference
think, Simon,
and convene
what
one.
has to be really, for you to be a delegate, it's not life ownership. It's not a life office bearer. You must be returned in a meeting as a delegate. What happened after our meeting, which was okayed by the High Court, you now have new delegates and office bearers. So the other past leadership ceases to be. Whether you are prominent, whether you are diehard, whether you are a founder member, you cease to be an office bearer, period. So if they had wished to remain delegates, they should have gone back to the grassroots elections, which they rejected.
Is the effort to dismantle FDC futile, ab initio?
It's futile, because now how are they going to dismantle it? They cannot, he was the deputy treasurer. Can he now sign any check?
Had I ever signed any check?
No. What were you doing
Even when I was Treasurer General,
yes,
the Secretary General had taken over the party.
Yes. So now as we talk.
So the capture started early.
Yes.
Hold on. The capture started early. That's why when you even got money from Museveni, it was the Secretary General who knew where he got the money, how he spent it, not the Treasurer General. Like me, I only saw in the media that Nandara has now turned Chambogo home into an FDC office. But I don't want to go there.
No, what is important, I think you are raising a very good point. No. So if you had no powers then...
Hold on.
Why, I'm not saying, now which powers do you have?
And that's why I realized that the mission for which we had started FDC was no more at Najja Nankumbi. So, the Najja Nankumbists,
that's a new term.
Yes, can continue posturing. Najja Nankumbists can continue posturing and want to have a bigger grandstanding, but I can assure them that you are just imposters and wasting time.
As we take a break, Honorable Mujichi, as we take a break, are you ready to kill FDC?
Of course, FDC will never die. FDC is the spirit. FDC is not a headquarter. FDC is the mission for which we started the struggle against dictatorship, against oppression, against misrule.
But you want to dissolve it.
So
Dissolution literally means killing.
That spirit now rests at Katonga. You see, once somebody has died, the body will remain like it has remained at Najanankumbi. But the spirit moves.
But your president
So,
is saying...
and once the spirit has moved, then the body is useless.
Your president said yesterday at the press conference that we have to make sure that FDC is gone. And finally, we have to really make sure that we really...
Yes,
that's what he said.
Once a body has died, they bury it.
So my worry...
So Najanankumbi is a cemetery?
Of course. Just to say there is... Do you know, I was telling you why you started FDC. But now you see a group of people mobilizing on beer. You know, that is what is embarrassing Ugandans. A group of people mobilizing on beer, mobilizing on concerts. And for me, I think the party founders advised well that instead of seeing Ugandans being fed on beer in Soroti, being fed on beer in Guru, being fed on beer in Kasese, being fed on beer elsewhere by the people calling themselves FDC, would rather dissolve FDC that we save the achievements we have had for the last 20 years.
Well,
yes,
we want to take a break. But
no, the story of the spear and the bead is actually clear now. Because if this party really belongs to you and deeply believing in it, and you just want to dissolve it as a small group, the way you did it, then you have a big problem.
I think still hold on to a party whose legitimacy is now too questionable?
By who? Because if you look at that kind of composition, you cannot tell that actually these are people constituting the party.
Okay. Is it just a mere clique? Like
I think
the Nandala statement.
It's a mere clique, and I'm not
it's
bothered.
A clique
you go and
of attention seekers and disgruntled
Actually, for
members.
me, I'm against even going to court to dispute whatever they did. It's their wishful thinking. Let them just go ahead after 6 months, form their own party, because they cannot dissolve this. It is impossible. As we talk now, the Electoral Commission is really working with us. We have a meeting with the Electoral Commission.
The Electoral Commission also works with UPC, which is disputed, works with the DP, which is disputed. So we know government has always recognized, that's why they say they have good and bad parties.
So can you start a new
The Electoral
party?
Commission has been recognizing the good FDC, the good UPC.
So where are you going to register your party?
We have all the constitution.
No, the one that you are going to...
The constitution is on our side.
What I'm saying, in terms of registration...
Yes, we shall go to them and tell them that...
Go to
stop
who?
recognizing...
You tell the public, go to the Electoral Commission.
We shall go to the Electoral Commission.
Yes.
And tell them
and you are saying that the Electoral Commission...
Stop recognizing the masqueraders.
Let's take a break and return.
And
but the big question remains, what does the current confusion within the FDC highlight about national politics? Good morning. Welcome back as we continue examining what is at stake as FDC splits apart yet again. From NT, now another force is emerging. Will it stand the test of time? Will this maneuver leave FDC standing, or the party is on the brink of extinction and there will be no FDC no more after 6 months? Well, do you become curious that Katonga was able to marshal all the numbers, put up a very glamorous delegates conference?
No, I'm not, because Dr. Kizza Besigye as a person and some of the members behind Katonga are really prominent people and recognized in the struggle against the dictatorship. So that's not really surprising at all.
Their ability to pull it off.
For me, what is surprising that they have failed to accept and acknowledge that they are legitimate organs, duly registered. You cannot fight from outside, and that is it. If they have any grievances, they should come to the headquarters and resolve all these issues within the legitimate organs and established organs. Otherwise, when it comes to numbers, Dr. Besigye can even raise 1 million, has been the struggle. That's not a big point. And I
So
don't know.
this is a force now to reckon with. Now that Besigye is the driving force.
It's not a problem. If they go out and form a party, and we have different fronts, because we have different formations to fight a dictatorship, than fighting their own baby. I think that's where you have a problem.
What will remain of FDC?
No
when
problem.
Besigye
You saw the numbers. You saw the
are
numbers in wherever we've been going. Teso, Bugisu, Arua, Gulu, even
But you
Logazi.
are transport refund.
And what's the problem? The law is very clear on provision of food. That's very clear.
So those numbers cannot be genuine.
How?
Maybe
Did they know that they are going to eat food,
they
for
were
example?
motivated by food and beer.
No, but how do you tell? Do we announce that you come and be fed? No. They also have their, but see, you cannot say that people came because of food. And even if they did, that's a tactical mobilization, whatever, strategy. I will have no problem about it. But they come for the rallies. So I think we are not talking about numbers now. We are talking about the principle or the principles behind these meetings.
Do you think?
Ours is mobilization. There is supposed to be dissolution of a party.
Supposing Besigye is disgruntled, and probably he is, are you really reading into his issues, his grievances?
We are not looking at Dr. Besigye as an individual. He has been personally close to me. I know the sacrifices. He lost a brother. He has put in money in terms of resources, more than maybe personally I did as an individual. But you see, it goes beyond him. And there's a big problem which actually I advised him, the doctor, we should not look at this struggle as if we are the ones to, you find artists to paint and you even put a signature over a piece. We have done our lot. We can let other people continue. For him, he believes that I think the struggle is taking long and is desperate. That's why now he's keeping jumping from one formation to another. You have 4GC, you have Walk to Work, you have now this Ready Brigade, you have everything. So basically, deep inside he's finding it hard to believe that the struggle can continue without us, the founder members.
Okay, there is
so
another
he's
right
there desperately looking at fighting and removing the dictatorship in a day. Fighting a dictator is not so easy. I think that's why he's getting a problem, a strategic mistake. He believes that he has to finally finish this piece as if he's an artist. No, you are an activist.
There is another driver now in the names of Elias Lukwago.
Now that one has a problem, my brother. For him, actually that's where we have a problem as parties. Lukwago joined FDC in a year and he wanted to lead. Birigwa in 6 months, Sebugao brings because say we have to have a Buganda representation. He becomes the chairman of the party without knowing the philosophy and the ideology of the party. So all those people are never groomed. You know, the kind of problems they created in Isubi is the kind of problem they are creating elsewhere. If you go to Kenya, for example, Kanu is still there. Now for you as a party president, I must leave when FDC is no more. That's what he said yesterday, and I could not believe a party president saying, I have to leave when FDC is no more. What is your problem? Even Kanu in Kenya is still there as a party. You have Jubilee, but you still have Kanu. So I think, Simon, now going forward, as parties, we really must look at nurturing people and go through the ranks.
Don't you think it would be prudent of you to leave FDC and form your own political party
Simon,
instead of working to kill it completely?
Simon, FDC was formed and became a forum, a platform for the liberation struggle in this country, with membership that was national in character. The leadership, the membership, it became a vanguard of democratic governance, and everybody could see. It became a nerve center for democracy and constitutionalism. The milestones are clear of what we were able to achieve now, and they are well documented. Now, for us to be there as founder members and see that we formed for that specific purpose, being a center for distributing beer, like in Nile breweries, that is their strategy. That's what he said. That's a strategy for mobilization. that the strategy of mobilization of a party we formed is now giving out alcohol.
Where?
And they even put announcements, radio
Where?
announcements,
Where?
that come to Soroti, there will be
Kasese.
beer, there will be food, come to Kasese, we shall
Beer.
give you transport refund. And then you ask, a party we have seen for all these years, there was no money for transport refund, for rallies. Where is it coming from? There was no money for even food of staff.
There is also a record
Where is it coming from?
There is a record that you paid delegates who turned up yesterday.
Remember, yes, I'll come to that. Remember that the Electoral Commission has actually reported that even the money they get illegally, the money that he was talking about, is being misused. And that's why they said you have not accounted for over 600 million. Because instead of it doing what it is supposed to do, it is buying beer. So, and that's why the Electoral Commission is saying, please, can you account for this
you
money?
You want to suggest that the money
Part of
FDC
it.
picked from EC is used to buy beer and food.
Part of it, it is the only party in the world, if you want to call it a party. It's the only political group in the world that mobilizes using beer internationally. And that's why they have become an embarrassment. And so the founder members are saying, we need to save the achievements of the last 20 years as FDC. Save them by dissolving FDC, and then we move forward.
Why don't you take the Mugisha Muntu approach? Yes. Quit, start your own formation.
And you leave the drunkards the other side.
You see, the drunkards are using our name.
Eh?
The drunkards are using our name. And so we must save the image of the FDC that has been built over the years.
Why don't you go, back?
If they were moving as Naja Nankumbists, if they were moving as another group of mobilizers, we would say it is okay. But as long as these drunkards are moving, these impersonators are moving using that name, we are concerned. I have bullet wounds in my thigh.
No.
I have suffered in the struggle. I am a product. I am a product of the struggle. I'm a child of the revolution. I cannot see that name being misused,
yes, exactly.
being abused,
exactly.
And I just keep quiet because I am moving on.
Honorable Jike, why don't you go back now to Naja Nankumbi through organized structures?
Has dialogue failed
and
completely?
You see?
They said it's irreconcilable.
Dialogue with who? Because Museveni took over Naja Nankumbi.
Now where do you want us to go?
Unless you're saying we should go and dialogue with Museveni, and we have said under what circumstances.
So you want to suggest that dialoguing with Amuriat and Nandala is dialoguing with Museveni?
Yeah, that's what exactly it is.
What about Salam, whose husband is a minister, was a minister?
That is the husband.
No, I'm telling you.
That is the husband.
You see,
not Saram.
What I'm telling you.
Yes.
Who's being intellectually dishonest here?
I think the point here has nothing to do with either Museveni or the NRM. Sorry, or members being in FDC and NRM. The point is, if Honorable Mujiki, whatever you're saying is actually passionately true, then you should be advised to come back to the party and mobilize, since you have the numbers, and change leadership.
Have you made...
And change leadership. That's the appropriate thing to do. Otherwise, now, if you want to kill this one and form another party, what assurance do you have that even that one which you are going to form will not be captured by Museveni?
We shall mobilize all the good meaning, all the good meaning.
Honorable Mujiki,
what is the vetting strategy?
Honorable Sibambi, do you really feel you must cling on to a party that is tainted by records of corruption, of getting illicit money?
How?
The EC came out with a report, the Auditor General report,
for all the parties,
highlighted a number of black spots in the way you're spending money. You have issues of corruption, you have issues, so many issues. The party is mired in
you see, when you're talking,
a lot of mess.
You say you can talk about allegations of corruption, but there was an independent commission of elders which was constituted, and that matter was cleared. But let's assume it was not cleared, Simon and viewers. So if there are issues with one or two members of a party, do you dissolve the party and form another? What kind of assurance do you have that wherever you are going, you not have the same issue.
I
think basically...
Can you walk with your head high?
Yes.
And say, I'm part of Najja Nkumbi?
Yes, no problem. I'm part of Najja Nkumbi. I'm the deputy president. If there are issues, we are going to clean from within. There's no way we can leave a party. Eh?
Are there issues?
Like in any organization.
What are the issues?
The issues of failing to identify good leadership. And most politicians are just job seekers and self-centered. In fact, that's the biggest problem. We must make sure, like we were in DP then, where you had UID and Federation Ebert Foundation workshops, so that we groom leaders. People just come in and they become members of parliament without knowing their background. Definitely, most of these people who came in actually have never worked in a structured organization like you here. So now they come in with a lot of clout and ego, so they believe that now they have to be seen. In fact, what is happening in FDC, it may not, that maybe has nothing to do with the corruption and scandals, it has to do with ego. People want to be leaders. You want to be a party president from nowhere. You want to be the chairperson, or you want to be, so at that level there is a big problem, I agree.
Hypothetically asking, what if in 6 months these Katonga people manage to dissolve the party?
You shall cross the bridge when
Do you see it coming?
No, it is impossible. Because now, as we talk, actually, as Writer said, that the Electoral Commission recognized the UPC, recognized DP. So now I'm wondering, if you're not sure.
So you assert it's a joke?
Whatever they're doing.
It's a joke?
No, I don't want to say it's a joke. It's really unfortunate, because you can see...
No, but your Secretary General described it as a joke. Do you buy into the notion that it's a joke?
Personally, I would say it is basically a mistake, which actually this morning I was talking to one of the members of Ingrid Tunawa and said it's very unfortunate, because they're taking a direction which is misguided. Completely. They are misguided.
Have you weighed the dangers that come with taking this new direction?
It's a very expensive exercise.
Just like I was saying, it is painful.
They actually
it is painful,
they are recruiting their own members.
It is painful that we have to go through this. But like I said, that to save the integrity of the 20 years of the FDC.
What registered, for example?
Of the FDC.
What if you fail to go through the registration
we
exercise?
We are intellectuals. We don't just do things. We know where we came from, we know where we are, we know where we are going. And because what we do, they cannot do, they are shocked.
How?
And let me tell you, more surprises are coming. Because
you seem to be in a very precarious position where EC is not likely to recognize you.
Let me tell you, we know what to do. Please.
So they buy another party.
We know what to do. We know what to do.
And when you buy another party, who is going to regulate it?
Where we are going, we know there. I can't just come here and waste my time. No. I can't allow that the party we have suffered for 20 years just dies like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why are you leaving it?
That's what I'm saying.
That's the pain.
When you said it is dying, I said FDC is not dead. Because FDC is not just a building, it's not a headquarter, it's not just a name, it is the spirit, it is the mission.
Are you still FDC?
And so,
are you still FDC?
I am still that mission that FDC investigated.
No, are you
I am
FDC?
still that mission that FDC was started for. And that's why I am saying,
FDC?
That's why I'm saying that spirit
president.
is no longer at Najja Nkumbi, the spirit is at Katonga now, and we are moving where we are supposed to go.
Who are you in FDC?
I am the Treasurer General. In the interim,
until after 6 months.
Because you see,
and he's the deputy president.
No. But by a meeting that has been disputed, so he cannot.
Is your name registered at the Electoral Commission?
He's not reclaiming.
Simon, is your name registered?
About UPC, that actually the current UPC.
We're talking about. Are you registered at the Electoral Commission?
But that still UPC has continued to serve. So. Mr. Museveni can continue to look at Mao as a DP, but Ugandans really see that Mao is now part of Museveni. So Museveni can continue looking at the Najja Nkumbi as FDC, but Ugandans will see that you have actually moved on. So for me, I have no problem with how Museveni sees you and his electoral commission.
Okay, as we get out of here,
I have every problem.
Honorable Nsibambi, How do you intend to navigate this new challenge
So I think-
that has confronted the party?
I think we have started an exercise which is ongoing of ensuring that we talk to all the political actors, not just the Honorable Mijuches alone. And many people, elders and people of goodwill and religious leaders are involved in this process. It's an ongoing process.
You're quoting them back.
Yeah, fighting a dictatorship is not easy. Whatever you're seeing may be really something which you may not have envisaged. But I think it was also our mistake that when we were trying to go into this political party dispensation, we did not envisage that we had to groom leaders. So you have self-seekers and job seekers and those people who are self-centered taking the center stage. I think that was a very big mistake. We are, in FDC, we are trying to do that. I'm now the patron in charge of the youth, specifically. And it's an expensive exercise. It may take time, but at least we believe that we can put our parties on course. It's not just an
Do you
issue.
feel dismayed that reconciliation hit a dead end?
Yes, and specifically because of these specific individuals like Honorable Mijuche and Dr. Besigye and the Lukwagos. Because for them, they believe if they are not at the top, then nothing can move. And that's a very big mistake. This struggle is not personal. It started with the Musazis. You're not the people who started this struggle.
But they started
So
FDC.
No,
They started FDC.
No, it doesn't matter. We all started. But you see, it was a process started by the Musazis when they were fighting colonialism. It's not individual. That's why it's now shifting to Kyagulanyi. It's like a snake, a liberation snake moving around. If you fail to appreciate that this is not your struggle as individuals, then we'll have a way forward. Otherwise, you keep forming parties one after the other. You see, Larry Kruger has been in 7 political formations. Honorable Mijuke may be one and is going to another. But you now even form up to 10. If you fail to really understand that this is not your personal struggle, it is a struggle for the liberation of the country.
Do you see yourself out of FDC soon?
Me? How? But
It's going to be
but I was not in FDC.
It's going to be dissolved.
I was
and there will be no more.
I was in DP then. I still have actually life membership card in DP. I don't have even a life membership card.
So you are also a migrant. You are also
No,
a political migrant.
let me tell you, but mine, when I came and I joined the FDC, then he knows, when we had all these PAFO meetings and everything, it was a formation to liberate a country. Now I'm in FDC for the time being in a formation generally, and I agree with them. Let's now join hands as different formations.
But there is now a new nightmare that you have to confront.
But don't destroy a formation which has, for example, 31 members of parliament, and you want to form a party within 6 months, which may not really get people to talk to a voice in the legislature. So I think basically, if they address that, I have no problem with them.
I think you're looking at them with a lot of pessimism, as if they are going to crash on arrival.
No, they may not crash. They have the capacity to even trace, to put up a very good front. But my only problem is that they are killing a front which is formidable because of personal reasons and ego.
Basically, we are not killing anything.
That's the problem.
We are not killing anything.
They have no problem with you.
We are stopping an embarrassment
of what?
in this country.
How do you tell?
The party is having beer.
Can you imagine?
Assuming
this is also true. The service of beer is just like a month ago.
No, using it as a way of
but you went to Katonga.
It is an abuse.
Long time ago.
It is an abuse to think that Ugandans only come for beer.
When was this?
You see,
just recently.
You are a Muslim.
No, just recently.
And a committed one.
Let me tell you.
Who speaks the truth?
No, what I'm saying.
So I don't want you to be here as a Muslim and you look in the camera and you tell a lie. Yes, and you tell a lie that there was no beer in Kasese. Look in the camera.
Don't give the people. For me, I have even no problem about it.
That there was no beer in Kasese.
I have no problem about
it.
I have no problem about it.
You don't take alcohol. Why do you use alcohol to bless
I don't have problem about it. Because even if it happened, it's just recently. But you went to Katonga a year ago also. So I think, basically give the reasons why you had to go.
So that was my number one point.
Do you have reservations about their intentions?
But you asked me to respond.
Are they genuine? Are they genuinely for changing the course of things in FDC? Or they are just self-seeking?
No, I think clearly they are misguided and arrogantly believing that they are the ones to really think for everybody. outside the
our mission
organs.
is clear. Our mission is clear. We are moving towards the liberation of this country. Ours is a forum for change. We see Naja Nankumbi now acting for no change. And so we cannot identify with you anymore. When you are for no change and we are for change.
Because even the other parties like NUP rejected your meeting.
But now,
and you said you want to work with NUP.
If you followed Kinley, you should have heard the pronouncement.
Did NUP appear anywhere, for
the
example?
leaders are in Canada, but you should have heard a pronouncement.
Did they go with
that
the party?
They actually contributed financially to the meeting.
Did they go with the party?
You should have heard that they contributed financially to the meeting that was there. But two.
So Nsibambi seems to suggest that you are unpopular.
No, he doesn't know. That's why is he worried?
Was UPC there? Was DP there?
Excuse me. He knows that we have hosted before at Katonga. All these political parties
you are talking
working
of
for change.
A delegates conference.
No, not a delegates conference. We have hosted before DP, led by Rurume, UPC, led by Peter Warubiri, PPP, led by Saddam Javira, NUP, NUP, led by President Chaguranyi, Anti, came led by Honorable Winnie Kiza at Katonga. We have hosted them before. Invite them in Naja Nankumbi if they will come.
We were not,
because they also don't recognize you. Even in Parliament, these parties, including NUP, when they are appointing leadership, they no longer recognize the side of Naja Nankumbi.
Yeah, when you look at
whether it is for shadow cabinet, they have said we cannot work with a group.
Yeah, but when you look
change.
at Parliament,
yes.
the setup in Parliament,
yes.
You come off as weak, you lack numerical strength. There were just about 6 or 7 MPs out of 31.
Out of 30.
I can tell you that more than 20 members of Parliament of the FDC contributed to this meeting that we had yesterday.
They are not sure.
Hold on.
They are not sure.
Hold on. They had the other reasons. Ask him when they had a meeting at Rugogo. They had less than 5.
That's FDC for you. Have a lovely day and cheers.
You see?